gavel, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's a
Good
grab.
evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Audit and Finance Committee meeting for August 29th, 2024. It's been a beautiful day so far. We're going to keep it up, I hope. All right, we're going to start with the attendance by our majority council, and then we'll move forward.
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham?
Present.
Reedy?
Here.
Clay and Ray Joyce are excused. Camisso?
Here.
Demalowitz?
Yep.
Lakakis? Yeah. Bergdorf?
Here.
And Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to start by,
First item is approving the previous meeting minutes.
so moved. Okay, I got a motion from Ms. Caps, got a second from Mr. Demarwitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Items 2, 3, and 4 are tabled. Then we're going to jump to item 8, which is amending the 2024 Board of Elections budget for overtime. I believe Commissioners Bleddy and Donovan are here this evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here we are. Whenever you're ready, ladies.
Oh, we have a couple of things coming before you tonight. We're looking for a transfer of funds. We want to transfer $60,000 from our election day staffing line into our overtime line. We may have not anticipated the amount of overtime that we were going to need for this presidential election. And we saved money by not having to hire as many inspectors this year due to the redistricting. And so we have money left in the election day staffing line, and we'd like to transfer that to the overtime line.
Yeah, so this is essentially budget neutral from our perspective, but we're also holding evening training classes for inspectors because a lot of our inspectors hold full-time jobs. So this is helping to, recruit a younger generation of people to work the polls, who are more adept at using the iPads and the ballot on demand systems. But because of that, we have to pay overtime to evening trainers.
Very good. Any questions from the members? If not, I'll entertain a motion. I got a motion from Mr. Bergdorf, got a second from Mr. Demarwitz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 9 is amending resolution number 368 for 2020 regarding the New York State Election Cybersecurity Remediation Grant Program. Commissioners?
We accepted and you approved the cybersecurity grant from the State Board of Elections back in 2019. The expiration date was at the end of this year, and they advanced it to 2025, March 31st of 2025. We were originally given $145,219.85. We only have $38,188.97, and we would like to extend the contract so that we're able to spend that money on cybersecurity, which is very important during this election.
All right. Any questions from the members?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, what will the cybersecurity money do? What exactly are the problems you're trying to knock down, and do you have confidence you can do that?
That's an open-ended question, right? I mean, obviously, we've received numerous warnings from Homeland Security, the FBI, regarding election interference. Our IT department is excellent in terms of working in conjunction with them as our representatives on this issue. Nothing is guaranteed. If you can hack the Pentagon, you can hack anything in the world, right? So the point being made is we have to put some sort of infrastructure in place in order to safeguard ourselves from sort of foreign election interference. And there has been an attempt by Iran in order to interfere with elections. I think they even hacked the 2 presidential campaigns so far. So we've received memos on it and warnings. And what they do is they assess our cybersecurity infrastructure. They have teams of people who come in, including NICE-Tech and other organizations, work more closely with the State Board of Elections as well. And they do security assessments of our office and our infrastructure and our IT department. And they come in and they make suggestions, and then we take our funds and we use it to shore up our infrastructure, whether it be firewalls or other mechanisms, which probably go above my head. Not sure about yours, but mine.
When you're counting them, you're not on the internet, right?
The voting machine is not.
The machines aren't, so you call them in or whatever, because I think that's the biggest concern people have.
Registration system
They're going
itself.
to screw around with the internet.
So our voting machines under the New York State election law doesn't even come equipped with the ability to connect to the internet. Neither does our ballot building infrastructure. So those two are wholly contained systems that cannot be permeated by something, okay? So by some sort of interference. Our voter registration system is a different animal. That is a web-based, cloud-based service, and so are our iPads. And then you have the New York State Board of Elections, the NICE voter system, which is a statewide voter registration database as well, that communicates with our system because it has to. So, yeah, there are certain components of our election infrastructure that have access to the internet and make it vulnerable.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you hoping to put this money in an account just in the case of an incident occurs, or do you actually have a use for the money right now?
So, good question. As of right now, we have not yet identified use for it, but we regularly undergo security assessments, and they come in and say, listen, this is an ever-evolving field. Every day they come up with new and better and innovative ways to hack into systems. So we have to be able to be prepared to guard ourselves from those incidents. So this gives us the opportunity to respond to those security assessments, and we're currently undergoing one now.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think I started with a motion from, do you have a question, Mr.?
No, I'm second.
Okay, so I got a motion from Ms. Lakakis, I got a second from Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 10 is amending resolution number 469 for 2022 as amended regarding the absentee ballot prepaid postage grant program.
The state allowed us a grant for prepaid postage for absentees. We originally were given $130,000 and change. We have used the majority of that. We only have $1,197.16 left of the monies that were granted to us, and although it's not a whole lot, we would like to use up everything that they're giving us. We expect a huge influx of early mail ballots and absentee ballots for the presidential election, so any little bit will help.
Yes, and I would also like to just add that we do have additional grants that are forthcoming. We just have not received the contracts yet from the state. The grants are totaling $441,000. Included in that funding is well over $100,000 for postage for absentee ballots. So that will be another way for us to help offset the increased costs with the requirement under the law now that we pay for postage for absentee ballots.
Yeah, I have a question on the absentee ballots. So I apply for an absentee ballot, send the application, and you send me an ballot back with an envelope that's paid. So what do you have, like a permit on it or stamp on something?
Yes,
So if it doesn't come back, we don't pay anything,
correct,
only if it goes through the system.
correct.
Good.
And we also pay for the application to come back as well.
Second. I got a motion from.
I just, a question, Madam Chair? Yeah, thanks. So you don't know what the cost is going to be for the prepaids, because it only depends on how many you get, and it could be a substantially lot more. Now, the people are a lot more comfortable with paper. So
Well,
how do you budget for that?
You can't, you gotta just deal with it. You take the punches and roll with it as they come, like with everything else, unfortunately. 2020, we had about 38,000 requests. As you're aware, that was during COVID. And then now it's significantly less. The last check I think we looked at, we had like about 7,000 and change requests, which is not as many as actually I thought there would be.
Well, how many permanents do you have?
Permanents, I don't know. We have 5,637 absentees, and we have 1,525 early mail ballots to this point.
We could check that for you though. It's ever evolving
There's
because
5,000 permanents,
Yeah.
then, so you know.
it's a little
5,000
bit less. I'd say it's probably even closer to like 3,500, right?
Because a lot of the absentees can also be like kids away at school, people on
Yeah.
vacation, going away for the winter, whatever. They're all considered absentee.
Okay. Just want to remind the members to please be acknowledged from the chair. Okay, that was Mr. Demolovitz and Mr. Gregory. Okay, all right, I got a motion on the floor from Mr.
Boss.
Reese. I got a second from Mr. Commissioner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 7 is ratifying agreement of adjustment and release of owner with the state of New York and authorizing the execution of closing papers on behalf of the county of Albany. Director McGuire is here this evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening, sir.
I don't have a tax bill for you tonight, so. I'm here on behalf of the Division of Finance. The Division of Finance is requesting requesting a resolution authorizing the execution of a payment claim in the amount of $17,000 for the payment of land that was acquired by New York State from Albany County. The claim is for 2,125 square feet of land located at the intersection of New Scotland Ave and Whitehall Road in the city of Albany. Staff at the New York State Attorney General's Office has requested and required that we adopt a resolution to accompany the executed claim form.
All right, any questions from any members? Mr. Demolovitz?
That site, that was county-owned site?
Part of the road taking, this was.
Well, it used to be a brownfield. New Scott, Bubsey's garage.
Yeah. What was the garage? It was
Bubsey's garage.
Bubsey's, yeah, it was Bubsey's.
So
Yeah.
I thought the state took
It
it
was
over.
Bubsey's. It was part of the closure. I have a map that would show the taking if you care to see it, but it was
the
part of
county-
that corner that was taken to fix the road
I
there.
know, well, I put my signs on it all the time.
Okay. Motion. I got a motion from Mr. Commissioner. I got a second from Mr. Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful evening.
Now we're going to jump to item 11. It's authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 8 Colby Street in the city of Albany. I believe Pat Curran is here this evening with Commissioner Riley.
Good evening, everyone. So this request is to convey a property located at 8 Colby Street in the city of Albany to a neighboring property owner. The offer is for $1,500. The neighbor indicates that he is an active member of the community. It is a vacant lot. He is hoping to clean it up, clean up garbage, debris, and use it for off-street parking opportunities.
There are no questions. I got a motion from Mr. Demolovitz. I got a second from Mr. Reed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 12 is authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 1579 Central Avenue in the town of Colony.
So this request is for authorization and approval to sell and convey the tax foreclosed property located at 1579 Central Avenue through the public bidding process. So in regards to that, the Department of Management and Budget conducted an online bidding process from March 4th until April 3rd. The grading process was executed and Louisi Companies was selected as the highest bidder and the best bidder. They are requesting that the deed and sale be drawn in their name of their newly formed LLC. I'm happy to answer any questions.
One of our colleagues, who is also the deputy mayor of the village of Colony, told me that they're very supportive of this, and I think it ultimately may even be, I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, maybe a Starbucks. So,
It was intended for economic development purposes. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Bergdorf. If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion. I got a motion from Mr. Commissioner. I got a second from Mr. Cactus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
And then going back to item 5, item 5 is providing for a planned disposition of commercial gaming revenue funds. I believe Mr. Morel is here for this.
Yes, Madam Chair, you always save the best for last, don't you? Absolutely, absolutely. What I'm looking to do is, I think everybody in this table realizes economic development is very important for Albany County. And for years and years and years, we were lagging behind our neighboring counties. Schenectady with Metroplex, Rensselaer County has their IDA, and we really didn't have that central clearinghouse, I guess you would call, where a developer can call Albany County, hey, we're looking to build this factory or this warehouse, whatever, and they had to deal with all the different municipalities. Well, in 2020, we formed the Albany Alliance. But since then, we really haven't provided a true funding stream for the Alliance. If you were to look at, economic development takes time. It's nothing that happens overnight. If you were to look at Schenectady Metroplex as an example, if anyone's gone to Mohawk Harbor, I mean, that's not anything that just developed overnight. That took time. And if you go down there, it's very well done. They've done a nice job down there. And I think it's important for us to get in the game and properly fund economic development. So the thought was to take some of the revenue we receive from commercial gaming from Rivers Casino, and apply that towards economic development. A couple of things here that I also want to go over. First of all, our occupancy tax right now, hotel, motel occupancy tax is 6%. So if somebody comes into Albany County and they rent a hotel room, not only are they paying the 8% sales tax, but they're also paying 6% occupancy tax. So they're paying a total of 14%. 3% of that, 6%, is going to finance the Albany Capital Center. Now, when this was first proposed and done, and this formula was created, it was to do so to form a convention center that initially was going to cost close to $400 million. That center has been scaled back now. It costs us a little under $80 million, and it's debt-free. So we have 3% of this hotel tax going to pay for a convention center that is debt-free. There's a surplus in that account. Unfortunately, I know there have been members of the legislature here that have lobbied our state representatives to change that formula, and they have chosen not to do so. They will not change it, which pretty much is forcing us to look at another way to fund economic development in Albany County. And this is really forcing us to increase the tax. New York State is already a high tax state, and here we are increasing our tax, hotel tax, or proposing to do so by 0.5%. And I mean, it's almost like I think we're hurting ourselves and we're hurting our state. If you rent a hotel room in the town of Colonnade, you're going to pay 14% in tax altogether. And most of and being a Colonnade legislator, I'm a little bit more sensitive to this because most of the hotel rooms in Albany County are clustered around the airport. And just 10 minutes north of us in Saratoga County in Clifton Park, they have a 7% sales tax and a 1% hotel tax. So there, you're going to pay 8% total for your sales tax or taxes altogether versus 14% in Albany County. That puts us at a bit of a competitive disadvantage. The other thing, if we really want to get in the game, raising our hotel tax by 0.5% is going to generate between $600,000 to $700,000. Is that really enough to fund and promote economic development in Albany County, since we're the latecomers to this game? 1% of that hotel tax would provide us with anywhere from $1.2 to $1.4 million. Well, now there's money there that we can use, and that puts us in the game. And I think that's important. You know, a good analogy would be a farmer goes out and he decides he's going to compete against other farmers in his area. He buys 10 acres of land, he clears it, plants his crop, fertilizes it, and then he comes out with a garden hose to water his crops. Well, we've gone ahead, we've created the Alliance, we have an office for them, we have a staff, and then we're going to give them a small amount of money to go and really try to bring economic development to Albany County. Now, I understand, I've had a good conversation here, and I understand that if you're going to, the money that we get from gaming goes towards the general fund. And the general fund is important because that's what we use to try and keep our taxes in Albany County low. So if we're going to take money from gaming, revenue from gaming, how are we going to backfill that? So I was asked the question, what do you want to use to backfill that with? And I don't know, I think that's something that the county executive staff can help us with. But I do have a suggestion. As an example, the Albany County Improvement Initiative has $3 million in it that we budget. The Stage Act has $6.1 million in it. Arts and Culture Support has $1 million. So between them, there's $10.1 million. What I'm proposing is that we take money from these lines, or if the county executive's office has a better idea, take $1.5 million to start to fund economic development. Every year, we budget an additional $250,000 until we get up to about the amount of money that, amount of revenue that we receive from gaming. And what I want to do is sunset this after 5 years. So we can evaluate, how is this done? Has this helped Albany County? Are we competing better with our neighboring communities with economic development? We can find this money without raising taxes. To be honest with you, the best thing to do is for the county really to lobby our state representatives as hard as we can, as a group, as a total legislature, and ask them to please change this, allow us to please change this formula. That would give us enough money to really start our economic development program and provide the Albany Alliance with that revenue stream that they need. A couple other little, quick little miscellaneous points that I want to bring up. Our tax revenues are up. For the first half of this year, Albany County's tax revenues are up 3.8% over last year. The state average is 1.8%. And when you look at our neighboring counties, Saratoga's county's taxes have increased by 2.4%. Schenectady is up 1.6%. Rensselaer County is actually down 1.5%. So, you know, we have a pretty big surplus. We have we have a good amount of money in the bank. Our tax revenue is up. And, you know, I just think that we need to get serious about economic development in Albany County. And I don't feel it's really a good idea to raise taxes. You put us at an economic disadvantage with our neighboring municipalities. And what we're proposing just isn't enough. So I'm open for questions or suggestions from any of my colleagues.
Right. Do I have any questions? Okay, Mr. DeMarco.
I'd just like to speak to some of the items that you talked about. To compare Metroplex with anybody else in the state is unreasonable. There's only one, and they only did one. And everybody else tried to get on that same bandwagon because it is such a revenue-generating way to generate revenue. And we even looked at it back then, 20 years ago. And we said, no, we're not doing it anymore. They never going to do them again. Farley got it done over there, and that was it. So,
But we have to compete against them.
But we have to compete. And Albany County is very competitive. We got Plug Power that we took from from Schenectady County. They're ready to move from Schenectady, from Latham to Schenectady. We got them here going to Slingerlands. We got Regeneron coming in on the O2 guys in the Nance, Colonnade. It's going to generate hundreds of jobs over there. And this is all being done through the Alliance and working with us. Economic development's a funny thing. I've been in economic development for 30 years. It's changed dramatically. You're right. It's all about how much money I can give your company to move here. How much more I can give your company to move here. That's what it's all about today. You know, and it used to be the jobs, the education, the people to fill the positions. It's long gone. And if you look at the state of New York, look what they did with that billions of dollars with the semiconductors out in Buffalo. So taking revenue from a source that we could also use to spend in other programs in Albany County to do economic development, to me, doesn't make sense, especially gaming revenue. I think that if we had a steady source like we just did for the Alliance on the hotel tax, which I don't think is enough either. I think we would rather see a sales tax like the Metroplex, to have some serious cash to make companies come here, to entice companies come here. And it's very difficult. I agree, it's very difficult to get companies. We can compete with Rensselaer County. We can compete with Schenectady County. Problem is competing with South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas. That's what we're competing with.
Well, there are other factors that,
Well, there's a lot of factors in it, but,
I mean,
you know,
energy
economic
costs,
development is a huge umbrella.
absolutely.
You know, and there's many factors why a company moves to wherever they're moving to. And number one lately has been money. And what, you know, tax abatements, we do it, Albany County does it. We do the, 45Bs, we do the sales tax abatement, we do the mortgage recording tax basis, just like everybody else. No other county around does anything different than we're doing. Can offer anything more than what we're doing. But it's the money side that entices them to come, which we did with Plug Power. We gave Plug Power $5 million to come here to Albany County. I don't know what we're going to give Generon, what's out there yet. And we've budgeted some of that money already in the budget and in the future. So that's where I'm at on that. Thank you.
Mr. Burbank, please.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'm a co-sponsor of this bill, and one of the things, and when it comes to the fiscal conservatism of this county, we're in good shape because we don't spend a lot of money, generally speaking. But right now, I think we have about close to an $800 million budget, and we have about $140 million in surplus. And we found that when we bought land in Bethlehem for a fire academy yet to come, when I asked where the money was coming from, I was told that it came from the interest on investments line, which was hugely overfunded. So we're kind of rolling in unanticipated revenues from, and Dave's here, I'm sure he built the sales tax for this year, I remember it, flat to be conservative, and now we're coming in at $2.8 million high, and that is going to be scores of millions of dollars. So we certainly have the cash ability to absorb $1.5 million in the first year as a permanent revenue stream. And that's what we're saying. Start with $1.5 million and go up $250,000 a year. We can find money to pay for capital construction of an NGO's headquarters, if we like the NGO. Not a problem. We can come up with money. But money for economic development, we seem to be penny wise and pound foolish. Why we can't dedicate, at least for a 5-year trial period, starting at $1.5 million, it's not going to me, it's going to go to the county executive and the Albany Alliance, and ultimately to your economic development efforts. It's going to be another tool for economic development. And I just think it's a very, very conservative investment in economic development in this county. We have all sorts of money for stage, that's green projects, but we don't have a dedicated revenue stream that can be used for other projects that come before the county. And this just seems to me to be a very conservative way for 5 years to see if this revenue stream works without having to go out and put our hotels more at risk of their competitors in Clifton Park and in Schenectady County, who, it's hard to even mention the amount of money that Metroplex gets. They get $12 million a year. And I will tell you, Gary, the one thing about the casino revenue is it's not an unstable source. it has gone up every year. As Rivers Casino has built their book of business, the amount that comes to the county has increased every single year. So right now, it's at 2.4 million, I think. And so, you know, to say, let's, in the first year, take $1.5 million of that and do it as a dedicated revenue stream, and then add $250 a year through the balance of the 5 years, well, now you're up to about where the $2.5 million mark was, and your revenue stream is going to grow above that. So it is going to be a stable revenue stream, and hopefully, by little increments, we have built economic development funding into our budget. And that's sort of what we're trying to do. And I would hope that that would be sort of a universal effort for everyone, because if we had to do this and come up with $2.5 million for the Alliance, that would be 2.4, it would be a full percentage point, I guess, or no, 2 full percentage points of the occupancy tax. You would have to go up 2%. So this is a way to do it, get the money to economic development, not hurt our small businesses in the county, and once again, like I said, that money doesn't go to us. It goes for economic development in the county, of which you play a large part in.
I'm not on the committee, so I'll wait.
I'd just like to, we're forgetting another revenue source for the Alliance, which is the IDA and the CRC. Between the both of us, we're funding $400,000, $500,000 a year out of revenues that we get from projects that we're doing. Economic development in Albany County has been actually very good for the town of Colony. Albany County IDA did the School Board Association in Colony, did the dorms in Siena. We've done projects out there with Mary. That's back in the day we only had a $10 million cap on non-for-profits, and they reached their caps out there, and we helped them. We partnered with them. It worked. So I mean, it works. Economic development everywhere. It's a broad umbrella, and everybody attacks it differently, and everybody funds it differently. And I just think that I would rather see a different way to fund it than using gaming revenue.
Mr. Drury.
Back when we first experienced revenue from the casino, one of the, I think Legislator Grimm and I had said, hey, why don't we give a bonus to the taxpayers? We've got this windfall money. And everybody said, nah, I'll do it. Well, I'm not going to suggest that now, but it does appear that we're not really relying on that money, and we could use it to double down, to use a gambling fund, right, on the taxpayers' investment and continue to bolster economic development. Like Gary, all the things that you're talking about are great. What could we do if we tripled that budget? We have capable people at the helm here in both CRC and IDA and at the Alliance. So if we have, that money to me is kind of play money for the executive at this point. So, I mean, let's be honest, right? We've got money, as Moriello pointed out, we've got money sitting in all these funds. We could invest it for the taxpayer. And that's what I see economic development is. It's a taxpayer's investment. It's making it more affordable to live where you live, because you're bringing industry who brings economic prosperity, which either through sales tax receipts or property tax or any other of those qualitative factors that make quality of life better in your community. So it's money that was given to the taxpayers. We've decided that as government we're smarter and we're going to spend it. I think we should prove that to the taxpayer and invest it. So that's why I think resolutions like these, or with some tweaking, make a lot of sense. We have this money, we could be using it to double our profits, so to speak, as opposed to just spending it somewhere that it goes away and doesn't come back. So, just a commentary.
All right, thank you. All right, okay, Mr. Grimm.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Let me first say, I am 100% opposed to any tax hike, and the hotel tax is a tax hike. In fact, over 3 years, you're talking about $2.2 million. a shift of wealth from the hands of people to the hands of government. But what's really interesting about the hotel tax is we're dying to get people to come here. Come on, come to Albany County, spend your money here. But we're going to charge you more for the hotel when you get here. So it's a disincentive to attract visitors, which is exactly what we're trying to do. We are swimming in money in Albany County, swimming in money. We have $139 million undirected fund balance. That's by far the highest we've had in a long time. We just gave away $60 million, from the ARPA funding. The Stage Fund, we created the Stage Act with $4 million, then $4 million the next year, and now $6 million. This was out of the blue. So we've got revenue out there that's substantial. That's 4, and 6. That's $14 million right there. So there's plenty of money. So what's the best way to fund economic development? I understand there needs to be a steady stream. It certainly shouldn't come from the taxpayer. It should come from a place like the River Casino. Because what do we have to do to get that money? Absolutely nothing. In order to get that casino, they had to agree to the state requirements that says neighboring companies get money. In this case, it's projected to be $2.45 million in the year 2024. So we have a potential revenue stream that will fund, and I like the idea of giving a little bit and see how we're doing, because we should expect real results from our investment in economic development. That's something I told, we should have real results from every agency in the county. It's something I've talked about for the last 9 years. This is an opportunity to give a shot in our economic development. The state thing, yes, we're being treated unfairly by the state, but I don't see that as changing, which is unfortunate, because the deal that was struck when that Capitol Center was first built is different than what actually came to pass. So the last thing, I think one of the best things I can do for constituents everywhere is let them keep more of their own money and let them decide how to spend it. So I'm adamantly opposed to any tax hike, including the hotel tax.
Thank you. After listening to the recommendations and comments, from the sponsor, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Move it out, unfavorable.
Second. Okay, so I got a motion to move it out unfavorably. I got a second.
Unfavorably?
Unfavorably. No recommendation.
No, that's not no recommendation,
I'm sorry,
that's a negative recommendation.
Negative recommendation. I got a motion for a negative recommendation. I got a second from Mr. Camiso. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
I would have hoped we could have moved this out with at least a neutral recommendation so that people on the floor could decide what's the best way to fund economic
Well, they can
development.
still decide on the vote. Everybody has their
That's right.
own opinion
Right.
on the floor. Just because it comes out of here one way or another, we both voted on different things, just,
Okay.
you know?
All right.
Item 6 is tabled at request of sponsor, and then there are no further items.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. I got a motion from Mr. Camiso, I got a second from Mr. Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, everyone.